G'day Earthlings, Dr. Rank here, and welcome to Gaming Legends, the show where one good turn deserves another, except when it doesn't. In Crash Bandicoot, you play as a mutant marsupial on a quest to save your girlfriend from a Simpsons reject. As we all know, a Bandicoot's preferred method of attack is by running around in circles. But I've already proven that it's lethal, so tonight we're declaring war on dizziness. Can you beat Crash Bandicoot without spinning? I'll be doing the run on the Crash Bandicoot and Sane Trilogy version of Crash 1. There's only one rule: the spin attack is completely banned. The run is complete when we successfully rescue Torna. Plus, as a bonus challenge, we're going to collect the maximum possible number of gems. Without further ado, let's get this run started.
Oh, Crash! How could you?
No, don't worry, that spin is just part of the cutscene. If you're that worried about it, you do have other options. Twinsanity Beach is a great place to get accustomed to the spinless lifestyle. Our main method of defeating enemies and breaking boxes will be by jumping on them. Unfortunately, not everything is vulnerable to it, the main offenders being arrow crates. You might be yelling at me to just slide or belly flop, but those attacks haven't been invented yet. But there's one more secret weapon we have available.
It is I, Aku Aku. My duty is to protect you.
By collecting 3 Aku Aku masks in a row, Crash becomes temporarily invincible, during which he can also destroy any crate he comes within spitting distance of. Thanks to this method, we can easily grab the first gem. Jungle Rollers won't let us get the gem right now, as 3 of the boxes are locked behind a green gem platform. We also run into the spinless run's biggest weakness: crate stacks. Crash can only jump up to 2 crates high on his own, meaning stacks of 3 can prove fatal. The nearest Aku Aku crate is also in a stack, but we can just barely reach it by using the grassy area on the right. If you ever run low on masks, Twinsanity Beach is a great place to farm them. The Great Gate has a stack in a 2D section, which usually have invisible walls in the foreground. Thankfully, there's an Aku Aku crate nearby, so we make short work of it. We also get to the log platform while still invincible and... Are you serious? They don't react to Aku Aku? But if we can't turn the log, then we can't climb up. Level 3, huh?
You fail.
Now that we've gone minimalist, the only other roadblock is this crate stack in the final stretch. If you still have 2 masks when you climb up, you can bounce off the turtle into this Aku Aku crate and blitz through it, letting us finish the level with 1 spin. It's worth noting that we can't get the gem on our first visit, both due to a lack of yellow gems and this 1 arrow crate in the bonus round. The gem would require us to repeat the level, which would more than triple our spin count. Boulders is an extremely simple affair, but there are a couple of crate stacks with low ceilings. We'll be ignoring this gem for now, but we might be coming back later. Upstream's gem requires the orange gem, but is otherwise extremely simple. You just need to do some fancy dodging to avoid all the fish. Papu Papu can't be damaged by spinning anyway, so we make short work of him. No, that's not a spin attack, it's just a victory animation. With Papu defeated, we unlock the ability to play as Coco, whom I immediately took into boulders for a test drive. Now you're probably wondering how Coco makes the crate stacks any easier to deal with, especially since she has an identical moveset to Crash. Well, my strategy is to... Oh, sorry, I should take this. Hello?
This message will self-destruct.
Yeah, turns out Coco's phone is a ticking time bomb that goes off during her idle animation. Thanks to this trick, we can get the gem from boulders, as well as several others throughout the rest of the game. The only flaw with this strategy is that it takes a couple eternities to execute, since the game cycles through the idle animations at random. Sometimes it takes 10 seconds for the phone to explode, and sometimes it takes 10 hours. Feel free to grab a Wumpa Whip, we might be here a while. If we can find a way to go without the phone, it will likely be much simpler to do so. Getting back to the main route, Rolling Stones has a giant wall right at the start, but there's a piranha plant we can bounce off instead. We need the blue gem to get some of the boxes, but what we can do is fairly simple. Hog Wild is a hog level which doesn't give you the option to spin anyway. Native Fortress, however, is just the Great Gate 2. More logs to spin and nothing we can do about it. Not even Coco's phone can make them react. However, we can shave a few spins off by hitting multiple logs in one spin. The crate stack with the checkpoint can be jumped on by damage boosting from the spike pillar, but if you're low on masks, the phone might be easier. You absolutely do need a mask to get past this stack with the TNT, since the phone's explosion will always hit the bottom crate and doesn't give you enough time to duck and cover. There's this one piranha plant on an uphill slope that can really screw you over, but you can bounce off the torch to just barely land on him. My best score here is 7 spins. We wouldn't need any more spins to reach all the boxes, but that requires the red gem, which we don't have yet. Up the Creek just has one crate stack before the bonus round, and Ripperoo is all about TNT, so spinning wouldn't help. Before heading into the Lost City, we backtrack to grab 2 masks. This isn't just to break this first arrow crate with invincibility, but also to prolong our lives. The Lost City has our first colored gem, which requires us to break all the boxes in one sitting. If we die a single time outside of bonus rounds, the gem is forfeit. The Brio bonus round is particularly troublesome with its TNT staircase, but you can just barely jump off the edge of the iron crates to land on the higher box. The Torno bonus round also has these Wumpa crates that are significantly easier if you spin them, but if you keep moving constantly, you can get them all. With the green gem acquired, we can also go back for the gem in Jungle Rollers. The crate wall is a much simpler affair now that we can land on it from above. Temple Ruins has exactly 2 arrow crates to break, but they're both coincidentally placed with Aku Aku crates nearby. Road to Nowhere opens with another crate wall, but there's thankfully an Aku Aku crate right at the start. Unfortunately, the gem is locked behind the red gem, not that we could get it anyway. The bonus round has this crate wedged beneath an iron crate, and the entire stage is filled with cold wind. This results in an entirely separate idle animation that never uses the phone. This has no impact on our ability to clear the level, but it may come back to haunt us later. Boulder Dash has a secret path for which we need the purple gem, but the finish line is extremely easy to reach. Then there's Sunset Vista, one of the longest levels in the game. The biggest spinless roadblock is in the Cortex bonus round, where you need to get past 2 crate stacks. The TNT floor makes the phone unviable as an option. If only there was a way for us to jump a little bit higher. Oh wait, there is! Whenever Crash or Coco take damage with at least one mask, they automatically jump into the air even if they're not grounded. Damage boosting from the TNT explosion will give us enough height to land on what's left of the stack as the bottom gets taken out. We do need to pull this off twice in a row though, but not necessarily on the first try. If you die too many times in the same spot, you'll start respawning with masks, so being bad at video games is a completely valid strategy. This not only makes the gem possible, but also gives us the key to the secret level Whole Hog. Koala Kong is the first truly difficult spinless boss. You're supposed to damage him by spinning the giant rock after he throws it. Jumping on the rock does absolutely nothing, and Coco is completely banned from this level. It's worth noting that Crash does have his own idle animation that lets him perform a spin attack without pressing the spin button. But even if that was legal, which it isn't, the rocks disappear too quickly anyway, and we can't just jump straight over to him because of the invisible wall. As far as the developers are concerned, this boss requires 4 spins. But since when do we care what the developers want? If you jump forwards as Kong throws the rock with absolutely perfect timing, you can damage boost upwards and clip yourself through the invisible wall. Unfortunately, this trick is incredibly precise and I've only ever managed it once. But I accidentally found a way to clip through the stone support on the right instead. Kong can still be damaged by jumping on his head, but only after he throws the big rock. You can still get him from ground level, but it might be easier if you use the minecarts as footstools. Full disclosure though, I didn't know about this trick until after I'd already finished the run, so I did have to fight him retroactively to prove it was possible. Heavy Machinery starts with 2 separate masks. I personally recommend entering with just one, then entering the secret area from the left side. The invincibility timer is just barely long enough to get all 3 arrow crates and the TNT stack. Cortex power won't let us get the gem yet, but just reaching the end is still easy as long as you know where to go. There is this one checkpoint at the bottom of a stack, but you can use the nearby Aku Aku crates to either smash them with invincibility or take damage from the robot and send him flying into them. Next stop, generator room. Before actually trying for the orange gem, make a beeline for the bonus round, then immediately start killing yourself until you have 2 masks. Once you've done that, restart the level with 2 masks in tow. The first crate stack can be jumped onto from the nearby monitor, but the 2 TNT stacks require phones and therefore require taking damage. Those 2 damage boosts will be just barely enough to reach the bonus round, but make sure you fail it on purpose initially. You're allowed to die within bonus rounds and still get the gem, letting you finish it with the pity masks. Grab a 3rd mask from the nearby crate and book it across the lifts to reach the stack of 4. You'll need 1 more phone explosion on this wall and 1 more damage boost from the final TNT stack. With a little luck, you should be able to reach the end and go back for the upstream gem. Toxic Waste also has a coloured gem and also requires us to go in with 2 masks. Grab the Aku crate right at the start, backtrack to the 2 arrows, then book it to the first 2 crate stacks. There's 1 more arrow crate you'll need to blow up, but make sure you take out Cedric up ahead so his barrels don't interfere with you. You'll need to reach the end of the level with both masks still intact so you can blow up these TNTs, and so these TNTs can blow you up. If you manage to do all that without any deaths, you'll be rewarded with the only blue gem that actually requires breaking boxes. Now that we've done that, we can also get 2 more gems, Rolling Stones and Cortex Power. The former's gem path can be bested with invincibility, and the latter has plenty of chances for invincibility aside from this 1 arrow crate. Pinstripe isn't nearly as hard as Koala Kong, but he still puts up a decent fight. While you can hurt him by jumping on him, he's only just barely short enough to do so. The final hit is especially difficult since you have to jump onto the desk first, and the window of opportunity is incredibly tight. While not absolutely required, you may find this easier with a damage boost from the last bullet. The high road opens with another iron wall with a box in the middle. Just like with Road to Nowhere, Coco is too hypothermic to break it, but this time we can just stand on the ropes and go around it. Even if we found a way to break that box though, the gem is still impossible because of this jerk in the bonus round. Slippery Climb is also a cold environment, but this doesn't really impact the main level. The only troublesome crate stack is in the bonus round, but luckily Embryo's Cavern is well insulated. This makes the red gem possible, though not any additional gems. Lights Out is actually easier in a spinless run. Your light source comes from Aku Aku crates, and spinning the rats can sometimes trigger them prematurely, preventing the masks from lasting long enough. But since we aren't spinning them, that isn't an issue. Then we get to Jaws of Darkness. There are a couple of crate stacks that Aku Aku can take care of, but there's one that he can't. We could use the scenery to jump onto the TNT, but there's just one problem. The bottom crate contains one of the 3 Cortex tokens we need to enter the bonus round. If the TNT explosion breaks this crate before we do, the token will be destroyed and we can't collect it. Coco's phone is the answer here, but we need to be smart about it. If we stand too far away from the stack or face towards it, the TNT gets broken first. Luckily, the hitbox for the phone explosion is slightly off-center. Walk right up to the crates, then turn Coco towards the camera so that her left arm overlaps with them. With this exact positioning, we can blow up the bottom crate before the TNT does. The Cortex bonus round itself is a cakewalk, giving us the key to fumbling in the dark. We're not done with Jaws of Darkness yet though, we still have to deal with the Torna bonus round. And this one has not 1, not 2, but 3 stacks with TNT crates. Even with 2 masks, that's not going to be enough damage boosts. Luckily, we can get the first one by standing right on the edge of these 2 iron crates, letting us blow up the TNT safely. The final TNT has another one above it that will drop down, so make sure you're paying at least some attention to it. Castle Machinery has a shortcut right at the start that we can take with the green gem, but the level doesn't require us to take it. The end of the level takes us directly upwards into these camera enemies which are immune to jumps. But as long as you use the secret technique of horizontal movement, you shouldn't need to take any damage. Dr. Nitrous Brio requires no spinning by design. You couldn't spin him even if you wanted to. The lab houses the most annoying bonus round in the entire game. There are 2 crates at the top of the screen that can only be reached from the top arrow crate. Normally you jump and spin this one and bounce off the lower arrow crate, but we'll need something a bit more precise. With a pixel perfect jump, you can just barely land on the crate without breaking the top one. From there, just make sure to jump around the Electro Lab assistants and you should be able to snag the yellow gem. This lets us easily get the purple gem from Lights Out, which in turn lets us clean up the secret path in Boulder Dash. Welcome to the last level of the game, the Great Hall. I did it! I'm the best blast player of all time! Welcome to the last level of the game, Stormy Ascent. If we fight Cortex before doing this level, the completion percentage will be 1% short for some reason, and I want that number to be as high as possible. This level is infamous for being so difficult that it was cut from the PS1 version, but the spinless run doesn't really impact it much. The only real standout is the bonus round, which absolutely requires 2 masks, and took me over 2 hours to complete. This crate stack is too high to jump over from the TNTs, and you're expected to spin the Wumpa crate at the bottom. Instead, we can use the explosion to damage boost over the stack as it breaks, then do another damage boost with the phone at the final stack. There's also one crash crate at the end of the level that likes to be a jerk, but it can still be reached with your maximum jump height. The final battle against Cortex is unfortunately the only truly impossible spinless boss. We have to play tennis with his plasma shots, which would require 9 spins to defeat him. Luckily, nobody cares. There's another ending in the Great Hall that skips the Cortex fight entirely. Normally, you'd need every gem in the game to access this ending, and we're missing 4 of them. Or at least that's the intention. In the PS1 version, the available platforms are based on the number of clear gems in your inventory. But in the Sane Trilogy, it's based on the total gem count, including the colored gems. Thanks to a colorblind programmer at Vicarious Visions, our 23 gems are more than enough to finish the path. With Crash and Torna flying off into the night, the Crash Bandicoot spinless run ends with 8 spins. I honestly thought it would take more since you don't have the slide ability, but I was genuinely impressed with how much of the game is possible. Before I go, shout out to Monstro who tried this challenge themselves in the PS1 version. And special thanks to my brother Lyra the Cleric for letting me borrow his computer to record this run. If you want to watch it, I'll be uploading the raw unedited footage to my archive channel, link in the description. That's all for now, and I will see you down under.